Welcome to April's version of Let's Talk, presented by Leader Impact Europe. My name is Jessie Pamilkov, co-leader of Leader Impact Macedonia and Leader Impact Europe. I live in Skopje, Macedonia, with my husband, Toshe, and 5 children. We are very happy to have leaders from all around Europe today. I know if you know how to change your name on the Zoom video, please do so at this time and indicate your country by your name. At the beginning, let's take a moment to introduce ourselves. So open up your chat feature to send a greeting and let us know where you are located. Again, it is great to see such a wide variety of folks participating today. Let's see, let me open up my chat and see where we've got folks coming in from. We see the Republic, Czech Republic, Romania, Chisana, Moldova, welcome. We've got Bailey Marks calling in from Washington, D.C. Welcome. It's great to see such a wide variety of people participating today. Again, welcome. Please allow me to share a little bit about our organization. Leader Impact is a global movement. We have a network of leaders in 350 cities around the world. Our mission is to help leaders have an impact, and we would like to come alongside of them to help grow professionally, personally, and spiritually, especially in these difficult times. We want to offer a place for leaders to share their challenges, to exchange ideas, and to learn. We would like to provide opportunities for connections among business leaders. We help leaders sharpen their skills by sharing best practices from their lives and businesses. Our conversations lead to both deeper friendships and practical ideas that help in your business or profession. I'm going to offer some instructions for our time together today. We are offering translation into the Czech language. There is a globe symbol on the lower right side of the screen. There you can select the translation option. Next, I will offer our schedule for this meeting. It will be broken down into 2 parts. First, we are going to hear from our guest, Wouter in the form of a approximately 30-minute presentation. If there's a question you would like to ask him, please write it in the chat as he speaks, because we will have time for questions and answers at the closing of his talk. Don't be afraid to write in your own language. One of our teammates will translate for you. For the second portion of our time together, we will have a discussion groups where you can unpack today's topic. Again, there will be a Czech language group offered, and our tech team will assign the rest of us to mixed groups for discussion from participants from other countries. Today's topic, that we are going to be talking about leading yourself in times of crisis. How you lead yourself today will define how you lead others tomorrow. As we progress into our topic today, again, I invite you to open up your chat window and offer your comments on the following question. What do you believe are the greatest challenges that leaders face in leading themselves well? Perhaps consider present realities as you respond. Again, what do you believe are the greatest challenges that leaders face in leading themselves well? Go ahead and open up your chat windows and let's get some responses. Each of us here today has been drawn in some way or another by the idea that leadership is best defined not by what we do when things go well, but rather how we respond when things are hard. I can relate to this reality, and you likely can too. This being that most of us can lead well when results are high, when teams collaborate, processes work well, and the competition is weak. The real test is how we engage when tension is high, there seems to be no solution, our managers can't get along, or people are ready to leave the boat. The question we posed you in our invitation to tonight's event is, how are you leading yourself so that you can lead your team better? Let's see if we've got any responses here in the chat. More urgent work activities. Casting vision and giving clear direction is hard and a challenge for leaders today. I see an answer of character. Thank you for offering your responses to this question. Highest resistance to leading self is focusing on self. Change comes from God and His Word. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, as you continue to consider this question, your perception of leaders' challenges and leading themselves, please allow me the privilege of introducing our expert, Wouter Droppers, who will help us dive into this topic, sharing from his own rich leadership experience. Today, we're glad to welcome Wouter Droppers. Wouter has come alongside leaders in the business world for more than 35 years. He has served as the president of several companies in the automotive sector and is currently the president of Europartners. Europartners is a European movement for Christian business leaders, where he advises, supports, and encourages Christian entrepreneurs throughout Europe on the topics of faith and business. Wouter studied theology. He is also the author of the book, The Jerusalem Entrepreneur. I have my very own well-loved copy right here. His tagline is becoming a source of well-being. Wouter is married, has 2 children, and lives in the Netherlands. Wouter?
Yes.
It is a true privilege to have such an accomplished leader as yourself here with us today. Having read your book, I don't know if others here are highlighters or avid highlighters or underliners, but I'm an underliner and I underlined a lot as I was reading your book. I see it as an excellent tool for leaders who wish to bring their faith and values with them into the marketplace. And I am especially having read your book, feel the privilege of now having the opportunity to engage the author and to have the chance to introduce you this evening. So as a community, we will appreciate getting to know the man behind the credentials here at the top of our time together. Wouter, can you tell us something not mentioned in your bio that is also important to who you are as a person, as a leader, maybe some of your hobbies that are key to you living an integrated life?
Yeah, I think the most important regarding to our topic is that I can tell that in my business life, I was president of several companies, as you told, in the automotive sector, that success was my trademark. Success was never a problem for me. And till one day, my success was leaving me. And that was not so much my business success as my relational success and my personal success. And that crisis brought me to renew my perspective on leadership and on life and also on business. And I will share a little about that this evening.
Perfect. Well, one more question before we dive into the main part of our session. Coming from your current private life, Wouter, you have let me know that you have a refugee living in your home currently. Might you share how this is influencing your view of leadership?
Yes, that's a good question. Yeah, we have a Ukrainian refugee in our home, and as many of you also support Ukraine on various levels and help refugees to flee and to give them a safe place. You also start to think about the one who sparks this war and about his leadership and how he thinks and what is there. And that reminded me to a documentary that is on Netflix, and you can watch it yourself, about the last Tsar of Russia. And yeah, this last Tsar was not a bad guy. He was, I think, very genuine, interested to build the Russian Empire. And he starts his period, and he brought a lot of economic growth, demographic growth. He built the railway to Vladivostok, from Moscow to Vladivostok. So he did a lot of good for the Russian Empire. And how could it be that he, although had intentions to serve well, that he could fail? And I think in the ending, before they shoot him, the Bolsheviks were asking, but what were you thinking about what you were doing? And he said, I was serving the Russian Empire. I did it honestly. I did it with my whole heart. I did it genuine. And they said, but don't you understand? The Russian Empire is not an idea. It are people. And these people are poor, and these people are suffering, and you don't give an account to your own people. And you saw his face, and you saw he couldn't grasp the idea that the Russian Empire was the people, and it was not an idea of a big Russia. And then they shoot him. And I think that is the mistake we see today as well. It's not about serving people. It's not about serving the Russian people. It is about having an idea about a great empire. I should have rebuilt this empire or restored this empire or whatever, and take care and be the leader for all the Russians, and that they can count on me and that I can be tough. And it's not so much about people. And I think there is the whole missing point of this war, but also often of leadership. And I faced it in my own life as well, that leadership was more about me, myself, and I, than it was about serving the people God entrusted to me. So, I think that comes very close to where we're going to talk about this evening.
Yeah, you have set the stage well, getting right to taking us right to the heart of the essence of leadership. Well, Wouter, as a respected partner to Leader Impact Europe, we have invited you to engage leaders in our network on the topic of leading yourself in times of crisis. With finesse, you have added the tagline, "The secret of long-lasting leadership and success." And you've just introduced us that it's kind of taking our eyes off of ourselves. You have certainly perked my interest with this tagline, and I bet it has stirred curiosity in our audience as well. So without further ado, Wouter, please tell us more.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Jessie, for granting me this floor and addressing all these people from Europe about leading yourselves in time of crisis and the secret of a long-lasting leadership and success. And why this subtitle, The Secret of Long-Lasting Leadership and Success, is that reviews show that when you watch leaders and you look at their end, that 1/3 of all the leaders, they fail before they end well. And 1/3 end a little more or less as they did. And only 1/3 ends very successfully in achieving their personal goals and also the moral goals and being a good person. And that means that 2/3 is not really ending very well. So how can you build a long-lasting leadership and success? Because I think that is important. And if you would like to leave a heritage or be of a purpose, or people would like to see you as a role model, I always advise people, look at the end of the life of a person, and that will tell you more than just a moment in between. So what we will do this evening, we will see how success can stop, what it means when it stops, how you can fail well. I think there's a secret. Failing is not real failing. You can fail well and learn from it and make progress. We will see that in failing well, self-leadership is key. And to develop and be a good leader, you need to be led yourself. And we will explain more about that, and we will try to redefine leadership and success. Now, I would like to start with a quote. A highly successful working life with an excess of ambition and power make many leaders fall. And I think this is an important quote because it more reflects my personal leadership and my personal life as well in a period of life. And I know many people who fall because of this. They are so successful. They have all the power. They have huge ambitions, and they don't care about any other people anymore. And that's also what you see in this quote. There is nothing about the people they serve or should serve. I told you success was my trademark in my business, and I was always very successful. And what happened in the business when I fall, at that time I was president of several dealerships in the Netherlands for Volkswagen and Audi, having also a leasing company, finance company, body parts, taking care of the whole thing. You know, when you are successful, everyone would like to partner up with you. And they confirm your success because they love you, they like to be in your proximity, they like to have your view and your take on things. And slowly you start to believe that you are so great as people tell you. And when you also have all the power, and when you are a president of a company, you have all the power, then slowly you become God in your own world. You get a lot of glory, you get a lot of appreciations, people like to partner up with you, directors from the factory are calling you, the shareholders, it was a family company, they would like to be in your midst, you get invitations everywhere, and slowly you start to believe that you are as great as you think you are. But that also starts to change the company, because what you do, you start to surround yourself, because it feels good, with people who say yes to you and obey you and do what you want, because you start to hate opposition, you start to hate people speaking against you, you think you know it all, and slowly you create a group of friends who you pay well, who do what you like, and what these friends are doing, they start to copy your leadership style, they start to copy your life. And they start to behave like you behave. And I think that is very dangerous. And in that time of my life, I was only talking about the status symbols, new cars, going out, having holidays, how to invest my bonuses, what to do with it. And surely the management team start to talk also about it. And the conversation in the boardroom was more about bonuses and how to spend it and how to entertain ourselves and to have a good life than about working on excellence in our business. And that brought the normal business a little down. We were not so excellent in service anymore. We didn't care about the customer so much. But because of my reputation and my success, we closed some big deals with new friends who also had a lot of money. And that made us survive, and that gave us the reputation that we were still good. But on the base, below the surface, we were not performing very good to the normal and ordinary customers anymore. Now, the thing, what happened is in your private circumstances in your family. When I came home, I expected my wife also to behave like I want her to behave. And when she would say, oh, would you like to bring the garbage to the street? I said, you can ask someone else, why should I do it? And I didn't become a very nice person anymore, because I was very demanding. I want people to listen to me. I thought, and then you start also to compare, because there are very beautiful younger wives who would like to have your interest and attention because they think they can make money of it, and you like it. And you start to change friends. Your school friends and the friends you work with, you start to change with other friends who more live the same lifestyle. And slowly you start to forget about everything. You start to live in your own bubble of success, of friends, of entertainment, of joy. And you start to forget about the roots, where you're coming from, your upbringing, everything you learned in life. You become arrogant, and slowly you start to fail. And that's not only my story. I know many friends, and I know also many other people. We have a big company in food called Ahold, and his president more or less made the same story. He divorced when he was 38. He had new friends, not his friends in business, but he started to have friends in the Hollywood of the Netherlands business and the entertainment business. He likes to show off. And he started cheating on his numbers, and they did some takeovers and they put side letters to it. and they were not completely transparent. And slowly, when the bomb burst, then everything was on the street, and he lost his whole reputation and everything. And we also with ABN AMRO, we had their leadership who would like to have a high stock exchange number. He would like to be valued. He changed the course of the company constantly to look for new opportunities to make more money. And at the end, he lost it all because he was not listening to his people. He was not listening to his staff. He was not listening to the experts anymore. He was only listening to the shareholders and would like to lift the course on the stock exchange. So this arrogance, what slips into, that can really bring you down over time. And I had the privilege to be saved by my wife, and that I still kept my marriage healthy and pure, and that I was listening to her, and that she was able to correct me, but I was in a very dangerous field. Now, what is the common denominator in these stories of failed leadership caused by a hubris born of success? I think one is the arrogance. You start to think and live above the law. Because you have a lot of power, you can think, I decide what happens. I can buy everyone, I can deal with everything, and everyone will turn a blind eye to me. I can do everything. You're losing connection with real life. You start to live in your own bubble. And there is a denial of risks and peril. So you don't see the risks clearly anymore. You think I can compensate everything with my reputation and with my power. It's more about me, myself, and I. You see other people, you start to see other people not as a goal in itself, but as a tool and an instrument for your own ambition. And you start to manipulate people and others. And you start using the company to get personal richness and personal wealth. And that becomes your solely goal. And there starts to become an undisciplined pursuit for more. You want always more. You are never satisfied. And I think that's a big track. Seeing others as a tool and an instrument for their own ambition, and not seeing them as the goal of your existence as a leader, that you should serve them, but that they start to serve you. I think that's also, we talked about this war in the Ukraine, what we see now, people in the West, governments traditionally should serve the people in the nation. And in the Russian mindset and in Putin's mindset, the people are there to serve this big idea of the Russian Empire. And they should be willing to give their life for this big idea. So he's not serving the people should serve him. And there you see that the coin starts to turn, and that wrong things comes in. When you live in your own bubble, then you start losing life and relationships, because everything turns about you, yourself, and who you are. And then you will see that old friends will turn away from you. I had a very good business friend who also had a new relationship, and you saw that he was not invited by his old friends anymore, because his old friends didn't like his new wife, because he had a trophy wife, we call it. She was showing off very well, but she had no content. She was only blah blah and outward appearance. And all the wives of this friend said, "Oh, don't invite him anymore. Then his wife will come as well." And he was slowly drifting to another friendship and other type of friends. You're losing focus on the basics of life and business. You are not interested in the business anymore, only what the business gives to you, and not how the business serves the people and the clients. And you lose the basics of life because you are not interested in real loving relationships anymore. You are only interested in what people are giving you. And you see happiness in what you receive and how people talk to you. And you start to surround you with friends who speak the same culture and has the same tone of voice. You start to focus on own pleasures, your happy life, and your status symbols. And the talk in the boardroom is not about business anymore, but about bonuses and how to spend them. Now, when you recognize this, you are really in a wrong position. And I hope you will wake up, because you will not end well. It longs for a period, because you still have your reputation, you still have influence friends, you still have the power. but you will lose your life, and you will lose the core of life, what I think is about having loving relationships and knowing other people and serving other people. So what are the powers that can guide you and that can change you? When you focus on money and self, it is killing your business. We've been there. And so what did I learn in this period of life when I was failing and my marriage was under pressure and I felt empty and I didn't feel any fulfillment anymore? What did I learn? I think the most important thing, what I learned is you are not what you do, have, or before. And that is about identity. Because when your identity is, I'm the successful boss, I'm the successful person, then slowly you become your latest success. And your life becomes a zigzag, it goes up and down. And when you have a lot of success and you have tangible successes and you can show them to others, you feel high. But when they leave you, you feel very low. And you start to depend on other people instead of that you have a source of energy within yourself. You start to depend on what people say about you, what they think about you, how they view you. And that also starts to guide you. And that is a very bad way of finding direction in life, because you are basically just manipulated by your environment, and what people want you to do, you do, and you don't have your own identity, you don't have your own course, you don't have your own direction, you don't decide by yourself, this is what I want to live for, this is what I want to do, and it can take off. You start to perform and to find your way throughout the circumstances. And when success is leaving you and you are very dominant, you start to blame people. You feel a victim. You will never admit that you are a victim, but basically you do. You say, someone else is responsible for this failure. And you start to dismiss people or to fire people or to use people or to replace people or whatever, but you are never at the stake of this failure or whatever. So it makes you also a bad person and a wrong person. And it makes you feel empty because you don't have something in yourself that is higher than what people say about you. You feel empty. Because basically you start to recognize there's nothing in me that is of value. It's only what I do or what I have, and you start to hate people, and you start to dislike people, and you start also to dislike this kind of life because you feel there is something there that doesn't satisfy you. Now, another thing is just find a new identity. Find yourself a new source where you can live from and say, this is who I am, this is where I would like to live for, and this is why I'm here. Another thing is when you are in crisis, face the facts and start to multiply what is left. And what I meant by this is you can lose everything in life, but there's always something left. For example, there is a story, maybe some of you know, I'm a Christian, there's a story in the Bible of a poor widow who has now nothing left. And then she goes to an advisor and she said, I think you are a man of God, you should advise me what to do. And this advisor said, what do you still have left? And she said, I have left some oil. He said, start to use this oil and pour it out and start to multiply it. And the same happened with me when I was in Armenia. There was a vineyard and the vineyard goes bankrupt. And the owner of this vineyard came to me and said, what should I do? Because I was very successful in making wine, but now the vineyard is bankrupt. I don't know what to do. And he was considering to take his life. And I asked him, what do you have left? He said, yeah, I still have the buildings. I have a barn. I have a house. I have the soil. I have a son. I have a wife. I have some children. I said, there is something you can do. And we discussed. And he started, his son was a mechanic, to make from his barn a garage where he started to repair cars. We started to put something else on the soil, not vineyards, but I think he went to another crop and to develop that. And he said, I still have friends left because he need to have buying this sowing for the next harvest. And by his friends, he could get a small loan. And then he has his body left and another son. And they started to decide this crop will grow on itself. We're going to take a job in the city. And they went to the capital and start to work there to create an income for themselves. And slowly over time, they restored. The garage was taking off, the new crop, they had a good harvest, they brought in some money. And so there's also always something left you can use to start to multiply. And another thing, when you are in this failure or in this crisis, it's important that you can start to give meaning to this crisis and that you don't feel a victim. I'm a victim. I've lost everything. I don't know what to do anymore. But there's always a meaning in a crisis. And it's not that this crisis is given to you for a purpose, but you can find a meaning. And what is, for example, the meaning when everything is left? Now, maybe you learn empathy. Maybe you learn compassion. Maybe you learn how to deal with less money as you are used to. Maybe you start to find new ways to make a living. Maybe you start to learn the value of friends again. There's a lot what you can learn in crises. And I think a crisis is always a way to redevelop yourself, to rebuild your character, to find new ways in life. And often, my plan B is often life's plan A. For example, I was in business, I told you about it. I had this failure when I worked for Volkswagen Audi, and I was considering my life and what should my life be till 65, and what should my life, should I stay in this company or should I move? And I decided to move to another company. I decided to move to another company with another company culture, because I would like to learn more about culture, because I saw that culture was very important for a company and to keep a company healthy. So I was applying for a new job, and not just to have another job because I had a job, but to learn. And then I moved, I became responsible for Volvo and the Range Rover brand in the Netherlands. And there I had a CEO who was a very authentic person, but was really caring about people and would like to deliver very professional and excellent service to his clients. And I learned from him more about values in life, about virtues, about how to do business than I ever had learned before. And I learned to do ethical business and in a good way, and to give an account to the people who work for you. And so for me, that was, I needed this crisis. Otherwise, I was never moved to this company. So maybe it was my plan B, but it was life's plan A. And I learned a lot in that company. So failing well is the key to real success, I think. Everyone will fail at some time, at some point in your life. But when you fall, for example, then you also fail in walking. That is not a problem. But when you don't stand up again and say, I can learn from this, like a small child is starting to learn how to walk. He falls, he stands up, he falls, and then he grabs his something, and then he learns to walk. And I think that is more or less life. Failing, crises are part of life, and you cannot predict them. You don't know when they come, because when you would know, then you would be prepared, and probably it will not happen. So they come. Always they will come at unexpected times. So how then to be prepared when they come? And I think that has a lot to do with self-leadership, the topic we're going to talk about. And how to prepare for a crisis, how to guide yourself and lead yourself. And I think a good way is what I call to be FAT. And FAT stands for an acronym for faithful, being accountable, and being teachable. And I think it's important that you are accountable to someone, that you are accountable to your wife, that you maybe are accountable to a group of friends, and maybe accountable to your parents, because when you are accountable, people can read you, people can get to know you, and they will give you advice. They will tell you, I see this in your life, but maybe you should take a turn here, or rethink this, or build on that. And a good leader should be teachable, because if you think, I know it all, you always limit to your own possibilities, and to your own character, and to your own personality, and you cannot grow wider or higher than what is in you. But when you start to learn from others, and you start to cooperate with others, you can grow beyond what is in yourself, and you can more or less build on the knowledge of them. You can add some knowledge to it. He can build on you, and together you can build more. And I think to become trustworthy and faithful is also very important. Another thing what I needed to learn was to organize my own opposition. I told you I was president of several companies, and we had one bank account for all the companies. And at one time, I decided to buy 100 cars. It was a very good deal, and I saw a lot of profit in it. So I thought, we're going to buy these 100 cars. And then the company controller came to me and said, you cannot do it. I said, why not? It's a good profit opportunities. He said, but you know, the guys from the trucks will also like to buy trucks. And you bring our cash flow in danger. And when will these cars be sold? And I only saw the profit. I only saw the turnover. I only saw the business opportunity. I never thought about cash flow. I never thought about how that could influence ourselves. And he was talking against me, and he was a very wise man. But every time when I had a great idea, I had the feeling when he entered into the room, he had a bad message and was telling something bad and why it could not work, or why we should not do it, or where the risks are, or where the pearls are. And I slowly started to hate this guy, until the point came that he was saving my skin. And I started to think, wow, I need this guy. I need to value him because he's helping me. And I try to organize people around me who speak against me, who have different personalities, who have different insights, who have a different angle of viewing on topics. And that helped me so much to have a long-lasting success and to survive in times of crisis. And another thing what I do is I journal my life. Every morning at 6 o'clock I wake up and I take some time to meditate. I'm a Christian, I also pray, but even when you would not do it, I review the day before. Are there still some loose ends? What did I do? Do I need to take care of something? Who did I met? What signals did I miss who may be there? And I look also to the day that is coming. And I read some from the Bible, but you can also read books, wise books or whatever that you can learn. And I meditate on the day to come, and I meditate on the day before. And these moments are very precious to me because I get a lot of insights, a lot of thoughts pops up, what I should do, what I forget, what I should arrange for. So I think to be an early bird and to journal your life. And one of the advantages of journaling your life is also that you can view it back. When you are in a crisis, you can say, oh, where was it before? And you can start to read your journal. And I think it's very important to have this rhythm in life, to journal it and to know how to respond to things when they come. And keep the focus on the core of life and your business. Now, I think for your business, it's serving your clients well and be a blessing for your clients and for your suppliers. And for your personal life is to develop loving relationships. Being able to love others and being loved by others, being able to know others, and being known by others. I think that are very important cores of life you should take care of. And knowing this, that money will always follow the blessings you give to people. Because when you start to bless people and to help people and to befriend people and know what love and things are about, money will come. And it will never be that the blessing will follow the money, because when the money comes, the blessing is not there. It's first the blessing you give to people, and then the money will follow. Now, find trust on a life foundation, something that is bigger than yourself. Dedicate your life to something. I think that is very important. We talked about this, redefine your identity and calling. And I think that the biggest thing what limits us is our human nature. You know, we are just human beings. Everything we do comes from our personal ambitions, and our personal ambitions, they raise from the heart and what we long for. And it was Alan Greenspan who said, unless someone will change human nature, we will face more crisis. And yeah, it would be something if we could change human nature or overcome that what defines us. What human nature, our ambitions are defined define our acts, and our acts define our destiny. So it's important what is there in our heart and in our nature. Who's influencing my heart? Who's influencing my ambitions? Who's influencing, therefore, also my destiny? And there's an important King Solomon from Israel who said, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. And I think that's wisdom in itself, because your thinking is sparked by your heart desires, but your thinking defines your ambition. And what you think here, that defines your ambition. What you see defines your ambition, and therefore you act, and therefore your destiny. So our ambitions are born in our hearts. And there is also our treasure, because what we long for, what we desire, we see as our treasure, we would like to value and we would like to bring to existence. And there is also our heart. And the question is our heart with the money, with ourselves, with our own richness, or is our heart with serving people and others as a leader? Now, redefine success and business. For me, success in life and business became more and more this phrase, what you see here, this quote. Being able to develop and live in a loving relationship with God, for me as a Christian, with my surrounding, and with myself. So can I love other people? Can I love myself? And do I have a purpose where I live for? Can I love and honor God? And I think when we start to live from this point of view, our business will really taking off and people will value it. And I can explain later, maybe in the Q&A, about it. Now, what has changed in my life? Or how did I move in my leadership from me, myself, and I? Acknowledgement, glory, personal status. I think my motivation to act and do business is now more about loving people, taking care about people, serving people, because I care about human beings, than it is more about me, myself, and I. I think my purposes and goals are also changed. Before my purpose was to have a business success, and when I had business success, I could also have personal success. That was my view on that and my take. And now I like to do what is good and what is right, and to contribute to righteousness. Now, also another thing is that my results have changed, where I in the past said, yeah, my results depend on my own efforts and my own work, and all the burden is then also on me. And life is makeable or constructible, whatever you call it. And then success is all on me. I understand that life is not so makeable, and that results come from another source too. And to understand these moves and this kind of life, that frees me. That makes me more joyful. It takes away the burden. It gives me, makes life more enjoyable, gives me more fulfillment and satisfaction to live in this way. And sometimes I still live in this old world. But I think more and more I live now in this world I'm describing, and this shift, making this change, that I think is a process in life and of life. Now, thank you for joining. Jessie, back to you.
Fascinating. I'm going to give my personal response to Wouter, but I want to remind all of you in the audience that we've now entered into our time for question and answer. This is a great opportunity to be able to engage Wouter directly about this wonderful content. Again, I took so many notes. Please start typing in the chat your questions, and we will get those to Wouter. Wouter, thank you for being so candid. I don't know that I expected you to speak just so sincerely and openly about your personal journey, and I value that so much, and I believe that those who are with us value it as well. Let's see. Excuse me. I'm going to go ahead and offer a question as we're waiting for others to pop up in the chat. Wouter, you talked about changing your motivations to love, but is that not an idealistic approach to our hard and competitive marketplace? How should we see this?
Yes. Yeah, let me elaborate a little more about that. Because love is often seen as a very soft or romantic idea. But I think you need to distinguish the various forms of love. And let me share my screen with you. If I have a sheet about that. Share. Yes, it's here. Confirm slide. I think you have four types of love. You have the eros, the erotic or sexual love. We all know about it. But there are also other types of love. You have this storage, what they call in Greek. It's a natural kind of love and affection what parents have for their child. The downside from that love, that it is very intimate. It's limited to feelings. And probably it's not helping you so much in business, because it's a love that is protective and caring and less focused on personal development and rational thoughts. So then you come to the philia. That's not a word in the Greek for love, and that's the kind of love of loyalty between friends, and you can use that very much in your business. But the downside is it thinks easily in us and them. You start to create groups, you start to manipulate people, and you said you belong to my group and your loyalty and friendship. But with this love, we can create enemies as well. Because if people are opposite to us, we said you don't belong to our group. And this love is more or less for our group. It's the love for friends. And I think we need a new kind of love. And that is this love, the agape love. And this love is some kind of source, a spring in yourself that likes to flow to someone else and to give without expecting anything in return. It is very strong, and it can even give on the expenses of personal benefits, because we would like to serve the other for no reason more than the sake of love. And this love is an act of the will. It is focusing on the flourishing of every part of life, including everyone, and it contributes the whole of life. Now, let me give some example. You have a supplier, and the supplier doesn't perform well and doesn't deliver according to what you agreed on, and the quality is bad. Then you can take another supplier. You can start to fight with him in lawsuit. You can start to bully him. You can contribute or negotiate about discounts or whatever. You can all do all kinds of things. But this agape love is asking, why is he performing so poorly? And I did it in my time as well. And I went to this supplier and I was asking, why are you performing so poorly? Why are you not meeting our requirements? What is wrong in your business? What is wrong in your process? What is wrong in your thinking? And by discussing it with him, you start to discover where his failure is. And sometimes you can help him and sometimes you cannot. And I know a good friend of mine, she was in food, and she also had a lot of suppliers, and one of the suppliers was not performing well. And she went to the whole process, and she was reviewing the whole process, what the supplier did, and was giving advices. And she said, I value you as a person so much, I would like to invest in your company and to solve your needs. And because I see in your automation, you can make improvements, in the whole process, you can make improvements. And what went with the supplier, why was she willing to invest? Because this supplier, in former days, his father had this company. His father passed away. There were 10 children. They would like to have an equal share of the company and of the money that was there. So he had to pay out his brothers and his sisters. There was no money left to invest in the company, and slowly the quality was going down. And by having this conversation with him, she was able to discover what was wrong in his life. And she felt so much compassion for him that she said, I will help you to get back on the track. I can give you a loan, and you will help me by delivering a high quality again. And we will help yourself, and we will keep everything in place. That is for us also easier. And there you see how this love can change your behavior. It can also be that you have to say goodbye to a supplier. And I think that saying goodbye is also an act of love, because the suppliers start to understand I cannot cheat on the people. I cannot cheat on my quality. I cannot cheat on the process. And sure, I now pay a high price by losing this customer, but it will force me, like we saw in crises, to find a new way and to deliver better. And at the end, you help him to improve his life, to improve his process, and to stay in the market. And when this signal is not strong enough, yeah, sure, he has to face maybe even more crises. But a crisis could also be an act of love. I hope this answers the question about love in the marketplace.
Yes. Thank you for presenting this different way, this better way. I invite all of you in the audience, you can unmute yourself and you can directly ask Wouter a question if you would like. I'm going to pull out a quote. My plan B is often life's plan A. I really appreciated hearing that perspective. Would anyone like to unmute themselves and extend a question?
There are two questions in the chat, Jesse.
Okay.
One from David Murphy.
Okay, perfect. I would just go back to following the plan A and plan B, saying that it was very interesting to see learn your perspective, that when you had needed the crisis to move to the company where you learned so much about ethical business, delivering, having the CEO who wanted to deliver excellence. Okay, let's go to these questions in the chat. We have hubris and self-focused feels really good. Serving people involves a lot of work.
That's true.
Wouter, how do you maintain focus on the second? Why is it really worth it?
Yeah, it's true. The other one feels a lot better. But when you know the end and you learned about where it leads to, you would like to do something else. And sure, maybe it doesn't feel so good, but the challenge is to make your heart aligned with the goals of serving people. And therefore, this love aspect is key. So when you can feel love in your heart for other people, and there is a power what can change you from inside to feel this love for other people, you are willing to pay a price or to walk an extra mile. I love my wife very much, and if I need to serve her, when I was only focusing on myself, it was a burden and I didn't like it. And when she asked me today something, sure, I'm not always happy, we all know, but I like to do it. I like to serve her well, and that gives me gratification, that gives me fulfillment. I love to do it. And what I also see in serving people, when you start to understand that language, that serving people is very rewarding, because people give something back to you. And now we have this refugee in our house. Although it takes a lot of our private life, because when you have someone stranger in your house, you cannot sit on the couch as you used to, put off your shoes, go into the shower at the times you would like to do. You start first to behave like you have a guest in house, and that takes a lot of privacy and private time. But what you get back from the love of this other person and from what she values, yeah, that gives so much that that exceeds it all. And I think that is more or less the secret. When you start to do it on discipline, you can also do it on discipline or some kind of calling or some kind of, I need to do this. But then you will fail over time. The challenge is to change your heart and to align your heart with the values you would like to embrace.
Yeah. You outlined that this has become more and more true in your life yes. Over time, and I hope that's true for all of us as leaders. We have another question in the chat from David Murphy. He says, earlier you said how you discovered the importance of culture. How can you how can a leader impact the culture so that everyone pursues right, loving, and others focus? So how can a leader impact the culture so everyone pursues right, righteousness, loving, and being others focused?
Yeah, I already told you we are all led by powers. And we have good powers in life and we have bad powers in life. We have friends who lead us on the wrong way, and we have friends who lead us on the right way. We have ambitions who are only focusing on ourselves, and these ambitions become part of our heart and start to reign us. And we can have ambitions to serve people and to love people, and they can become part of our heart and reign us as well. So I think it's very important. What do you let get into your heart? And which people do you surround you with? And which friends do you have? What is the environment you live in? What media do you allow access into your heart and to speak into your heart? What kind of people do you allow to speak in your heart? And for me as a Christian, it's very important that God, who I see as the source of good, can speak in my heart. And I believe that God has an external power to speak in my heart and to change me from inside out. I think it's for a human being very hard to change him from inside out, or through experience help. When you come in a crisis, an experience of crisis always help to shift and to change your goals, but it will not change you completely. And even when God works in your heart, you will not be changed completely. It's all kind of a process. It will happen over time, slowly. But I think it's a process and a journey worth to travel and to walk, because you will find it very rewarding during the process already.
I appreciate that. And I'm sure David and the rest of our audience are grateful for your heartfelt, sincere response to that question. We are just a few minutes out from our time to go into our breakout rooms, and I assume our tech team is preparing those for us now. Did you have, Wouter, one additional slide that you might want to engage us over? Just speaking about using the example from the war in Ukraine, the example of Putin as a leader who perhaps, could be viewed at one time who brought order, a functioning government, economic growth, and freedom in his early years. What went wrong from your perspective, and how does this relate to our topic of self-leadership?
Yeah, I think what went wrong, Putin also started in his early days not being a bad leader. He brought freedom after, you have to know, he took over when Yeltsin disappeared, and the Soviet Union or Russia was chaos. Oligarchs, reign, everyone was grabbing and he brought order. That was one of the advantages. When I was there in 2014, 15, I think, the people really valued him and loved him. I speak with people in prisons, and they said, we get food in daytime. There are now rehab programs. I speak with elderly people. They said, we receive the pensions in time. There is now a social welfare. It's not much, but there is something, and the government is paying. When I speak with church leaders, they said, we can evangelize on the streets. We can go out. We can bring people to churches. So he brought a lot of good, and they valued that. Economic was growing, everything was more or less moving in a good direction, and people were happy with it. What I think, what went wrong, what we talked, this arrogance, this living in your bubble, this absolute power, this and not being connected to the people anymore, and starting to think, I need to build and rebuild Russia and make Russia great again. And he started to believe in that idea. And that idea became part of his heart. And from a Russian mindset, you are, as a leader, you are allowed to use people for own benefits. The people are there to serve you. Also in businesses, and I think many know from Soviet times and in Eastern Europe, you have a very hierarchical form of business. The leader is in charge, and he decides, and you should listen. And he can even bully you, and he can say you are nothing, and what you do, it's great that you work here, and they don't treat many people don't treat their people well. And the people are there to serve their company or to serve the leader. And I think that is a key note there, what is in his thinking. Another thinking is, we often think in win-win. But win-win is only there when there is abundance. But when you see there is scarcity or there's always someone to compete with you, you start to think in win-lose. And the win-lose concept is, yeah, when there is only win-lose, then I need to be the winner. And you start to use your power to be the winner and become the winner. So that is a different mindset. It's a different way of thinking. And I think slowly, because he had success, he had this absolute power. He was smart in what he did. He started to believe in himself, and he started to change from serving the people to, I would like to establish this idea. I would like to become the big Soviet leader or Russian leader who made Russia big again. And you see that he moves from people to himself and to his own ideas and ambition. And by embracing these two concepts of win-lose and people are there to serve me and the great empire, yeah, you can allow yourself a lot of bad things and not thinking that you are bad in yourself.
Yeah. You've done a wonderful job of showing us the dangers of setting ourselves into this bubble and just drawing people around us who will say yes to what we say and to just copy us, and then the danger of that slow value shift that can be experienced. And I really value the leadership principle that you have adopted, where you intentionally put people around you who oppose your opinions, that you welcome these voices, that you've even seen that they've saved you gave the example of this fellow saving your skin. So let these be things that we carry with us after this talk today. Thank you so much, Wouter, for your time. Thank you for being our honored guest today. We value your partnership as president of Euro Partners to Leader Impact, and hearing your thoughts on this important topic of self-leadership.
Good, thank you. Most welcome. Love to do it.
Okay, it is now time for our discussion groups. We will have 20 or so minutes to discuss this topic today. Wouter has prepared questions to lead us through that time. Leader Impact is known for its small groups. This is an environment where leaders sharpen each other professionally, personally, and spiritually. If you are not yet experiencing the Leader Impact community by being a part of a group, today's discussion will offer you a taste of what it is like to take part. And we hope that you would consider joining a group following this webinar. So we will close our webinar directly after the discussion groups. We will not be coming back into this main room. So this is our opportunity to thank you for being a part of Let's Talk, April's version of Let's Talk. And again, thank you so much, Wouter, for joining us.